Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi everybody. Hope everyone is well. Jazakumullah khairan for joining me in our first episode of Qur'an with Armaan. Now, this is going to be really exciting, I hope. I hope it continues to build momentum and more people join each week, inshallah. So keep leaving your comments, keep leaving your likes, inshallah. Okay, I want you guys to share your opinions and your thoughts on these Quranic ayat. Okay, this isn't going to be like any other tafsir lecture that you've been to. I don't want you to be sat here just telling you what to think about the Quran. I want you to think about what I'm saying in the Quran. Okay, so anytime you want, ask a question, and if I ask you a question as well, make sure you guys reply. I want you guys thinking and interacting, inshallah. Okay, so for our first episode, my parents have been away for a few months now. Alhamdulillah, they're coming back tomorrow, inshallah. Please pray for their safe journey. They'll be back tomorrow. So I thought about an ayah about parents is probably most befitting for my first episode. Okay, so there's many ayat about parents, and I thought, okay, let's choose one of them. And then why should we choose one? Because we know to be good to our parents, but our hearts forget so easily, and that's the problem. So today I'm going to go through Surah Luqman. That's Surah number 31, verses 12 through 14. Okay, main one being 14, but I wanted to give you some context beforehand. Okay, so I've got my mushaf here and the translation as well. It's always best to read from the mushaf. You get more rewards for reading from the mushaf, by the way, because your eyes are also reading. Okay, so let's start with the recitation of it. Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا لُقْمَانَ الْحِكْمَةَ أَنِ اشْكُرْ لِلَّهِ وَمَنْ يَشْكُرْ فَإِنَّمَا يَشْكُرُ لِنَفْسِهِ وَمَنْ كَفَرَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ حَمِيدٌ وَإِذْ قَالَ لُقْمَانُ لِابْنِهِ وَهُوَ يَعِظُهُ يَا بُنَيَّ لَا تُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ إِنَّ الشِّرْكَ لَظُلْمٌ عَظِيمٌ وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ وَهْنًا عَلَى وَهْنٍ وفصاله في عامين أن اشكر لي ولوالديك إلي المصير. صدق الله العظيم. Okay, so verse number 12. And we had certainly given Luqman wisdom and said, be grateful to Allah. And whoever is grateful for the benefit of himself. And whoever is ungrateful, then indeed Allah is free of need and praiseworthy. Verse number 13. And mention when Luqman said to his son, while he was giving him a heartfelt counsel, O my dear son, do not associate anything with Allah. Indeed, association with Allah is great injustice. And then verse number 14. And we have enjoined upon man care for his parents. His mother carried him, weakness upon weakness, and his weaning is in 2 years. Be grateful to me and to your parents. To me is the final destination. And then this passage goes on until verse number 19, and I recommend everybody to go through this passage because it contains some really good advice that we should be giving our children. If you see me looking back, it's just to look at the translation again so that I can keep on track. So we find out Luqman was given a gift by Allah, and that gift was wisdom. And what is the greatest wisdom? It's to be grateful to Allah. Okay. He then gives a heartfelt counsel to his son with maturity and respect. Now, when for those of us with children, or even nieces and nephews or grandchildren, when's the last time we treated our children with maturity and respect? Have you all, or do we all just treat our children like children? Is there any surprise to us that they continue to act like children? Are we scared of something, maybe? Are we scared that if we treat them like adults, they'll grow up too quickly? I wonder why we continue to treat them like children. Because they act like children? So we have to continue to treat them like children because they continue to act like children? Let me give you an example. If I was to teach a 5-year-old 1 + 1 = 2, when they're 6 years old, would I be still teaching them 1 + 1 = 2? No, I'd move on to the next level. And that's exactly how we should be with our own children. Once they reach one level of maturity, we should be treating them like the next level of maturity. Okay? We should continue to ask their opinions and then allow them to grow up as well. Don't be surprised that if you continue to treat them like children, when they're 20 years old, they'll be acting like children. So, what's the most important thing to instill in your child? Don't associate partners with Allah. The Tawheed of Allah. Don't do shirk with Allah. Indeed, that is the greatest injustice. So, giving the rights of Allah is the one unforgivable sin in Islam. Okay, so Luqman mentions about giving Allah his rights. Then Allah cuts away from the story, saying that Allah has always enjoined mankind to be good to his parents. He then says, be grateful to me and to your parents. So Luqman told his son to be grateful to Allah and don't do shirk with him. And then Allah is telling the children to be grateful to their parents. And this really hit me hard, because if I focus on the rights of others, if I give other people their rights, I don't have to worry about my rights. I don't have to worry about demanding my rights, because if you put Allah first, then Allah will automatically give you your rights. Okay? And this is how it should be for any relationship. And it's a question I want to ask all those married people. All those that are married, do you guys demand your rights too quickly? When's the last time you just focused on giving your spouse their rights? What could you do to maybe to focus more on their rights? Is there anything that you guys could do? I'd love to hear some ideas. Just, if not to benefit me, but to benefit everyone else as well. What could someone do to focus on the rights of their spouses? For example, could they truly listen? Please leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you think. Does your spouse give you your rights? Do you give your spouse their rights? Listen to them. Truly listen to what they're saying. Yeah, that's absolutely true. If you listen to them, then you'll know what their rights are. Yeah, it's very simple, isn't it? Just focus on giving them their rights, and then you'll be given yours, inshallah. Okay? Anyway, let's move on. So let's move on to the most important part of today's talk. We've enjoined mankind to be good to their parents. Now both parents are mentioned, but then Allah singles out the mother afterwards. His mother carried him burden upon burden and then fed him for up to 2 years. Be grateful to me and your parents. Okay, so after just a month without my mum, I realized how ungrateful I am for everything that she does. Okay, so your mum, she got pregnant with you, and then she was so excited, and then suddenly that excitement turned into throwing up. and then all food started tasting weird. And then they get a few months down the line, and then they start getting back pains. Then a few months later, it hurts to stand up. Then it hurts to sit down. Then it hurts to lie down. Then it hurts to lie down the other way. Not only that, but we're getting bigger and then starting kicking them from the inside, causing them more pain. Do they care about any of that pain? No, they just care that you're all right. Okay? And then it's time for us to come out. Oh God, that's even bigger. You know how we celebrate birthdays? We have cake, we have presents and all that. Do we ever stop to think that this is the day that my mum had the near-death experience just for me? We never stop to really take these on board. We're the ones that caused her to bleed continuously and then her bones to open up just to let us out. And if that was anybody else, if that was me, I would never be able to forgive that person who made me or stabbed me or something like that, made me continuously bleed. I'd never be able to do it. But then after hours of torture and screaming, you're out, and then you're put in the arms of your mother. And then she forgets everything in an instant. Just like that, everything disappears. Everything she's gone through just disappears. And it's not like we come out saying, oh, thank you, Mum, for going through all that. No, we start crying even more and then asking for food. Then she feeds us, which is painful in and of itself. Then we start getting a bit bigger. Then she starts checking up on us every single second. Then she starts thinking, oh, he's too hot, he's too cold, he needs more of this, he needs less of that. And then it's just constant checking up. Then we get even bigger, we start walking and then start running. And that's the most exercise she has in her whole lifetime. And then we start eating normal foods again. And then she takes a spoon and then starts trying to feed you. And then you're so picky and then you think, no, I don't want this food. And then you just bat it away and it's all over the floor. She stays calm one time. She gets another spoonful. She tries to feed you again. Then you bat it away again. And then she gets so angry and says, stop it. And then there's silence. You freeze. And then then you just start crying and crying. And then she spends the whole night. If that was anyone else, she would think, yeah, they deserved that. But now, because it's you, she spends the whole night being guilty, thinking that she's a bad mother. Why am I mentioning all of this? Because we found out in the previous ayat that the father gives good advice when you're a bit older. And he'd give us the stuff that we want when you ask for it. And then he'd also discipline us if we're out of line. That's part of his role, even if we don't like it. But all these things, we can remember our fathers doing this for us. But the most important thing that our mothers did, we can't remember any of that. We don't even remember. We are sure it happened and other people can testify to it. But are we grateful for those things? Now listen to this. This is the main takeaway point. What your mother did for you is from the seen. What Allah does for you is from the unseen. Okay? If you are incapable of being grateful to your mother for the things that she's done that are in the seen, you'll be incapable of being grateful for what Allah does for you in the unseen. Okay? Let that sink in. And that's the biggest takeaway point that I had from this ayah that I was thinking about. And I'd love to know what you guys think about it as well. What do you think being grateful to your parents is? Give me some ideas. If anyone wants to come on, feel free to request as well. I'll let you guys on. There's absolutely no wrong opinions. There's no wrong ideas. I want to know what you think being grateful to your parents is. Give me some ideas. How can I be more grateful to my parents? What can I do? What can other people do? What do you think you should do? give you guys a second. Words. Yes, use our words. Call them more often. Do we not? Do we call them too much? No, we never do. We never call them enough. Unfortunately, that is a great idea. We should call them at least once a day. Just let them know that we're there and we're thinking of them. Yeah, definitely great. And there's loads more, inshallah. It's only the first week, so I'm going to let you guys off, that you guys didn't add more comments. Leave any other comments that you want, or any changes that you'd like to see in the format or in the content of the show. Okay, let me know what other ayat I should do. Maybe you've read an ayah and it's really hit you in the heart, and then maybe we can discuss that and then see how other people can relate to it as well. And that would be great if you guys could do that. So inshallah, I will be changing from Mondays to Tuesdays. So not tomorrow, but next week on Tuesday, inshallah, at 7 p.m. Join me for our next episode of Qur'an with Armaan. I'll see you guys next week, inshallah. Subhanaka wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Jazakumullah khairan again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.